Yeah, I mean, we look better, I would say. I mean, it has coincided with much easier fixtures, but obviously Dortmund and Frankfurt were good games, and that's in the Champions League, and that was good. Albeit, German sides, Frankfurt were already out, Dortmund were down to 10 men, so there are caveats with that, even with that, but you just got to give credit where credit's due. There were two good performances. And I find it, people are saying in the last 5 games or few games, if you take out the Champions League, I mean, like in the Premier League, we're looking better, but we are playing a lot worse sides. Like, we are playing West Ham, Bournemouth and Burnley, who are winless in double-digit games going into those games. So is there any surprise that we were more in those games than the other ones, given the opposition? Probably not. So we have to prove that we can do against a good team, and we obviously did beat Man City earlier in the season. I also think the formation definitely, just purely based on what I'm seeing, is leading to a few different dynamics that are working better for us than before. I think the wing backs supporting the wingers with those 3 centre back covering is helping. I think Xavi having more options to play with in the midfield is definitely helping as well for him. I think it's helping the striker. I also think having Solanke back with his hold-up play, that's definitely helping. So there's definitely a few dynamics, irrespective of the opposition, which are definitely different to what we were seeing before, and they're definitely improving. But yeah, at the moment, we're 2 wins in 14, and we just need to start getting results. Performances have to get better as well. But given the situation we are in, results are just paramount at the moment.
Yeah, and I think with the kind of game it's going to be this weekend, do you feel like this could be a game that could suit Xavi Simons? Because there'll be that bit more space for him, as opposed to like the Burnley game or the West Ham game.
Yeah, I think so. I think Man City at the moment, they're not the most physical side, and they try and play football, and they're obviously going to take the game to us, and they're going to commit risk. And I think Xavi is the kind of player who could thrive in that scenario. But the question is, can we get the ball to him? Are City going to kind of suffocate us and just make sure we don't get out? Because they're going to be very aggressive with their pressing and stuff like that. And they're obviously a very good team. They're going to keep the ball very well, and we're going to have to basically play in transition and play quickly and directly. I think Xavi is definitely a player who could suit it, because I look at City's midfield options and they're all good, but I don't see any of them hopefully dominating him. And they're going to probably have Bernardo Silva potentially in the midfield, maybe even Foden. So I think they're going to have technicians in there. So I think we can have a technician in there as well, hopefully.
Yeah,
in that.
And I think you can look at many Spurs v Man City games in the past where we've had the kind of blueprint to hurt them, but the most recent game and the biggest example of it recently is the Manchester United game, and how Man United completely nullified Man City that day. Bruno Fernandes was just so instrumental to everything that they were doing. They kind of were so compact, so hard to beat. But then when they attacked so direct in numbers, and they were hurting Man City time and time again. And I think we've got the ability to do that as well.
Yeah, they attacked with purpose. That was the main point. They didn't just do it. They didn't just get the ball, sit deep, and then lump it forward and just go long. They have a few quick combinations into Bruno, into Mbeumo, running in behind. It was really kind of carefully thought out, but executed to perfection. And it was a brilliant counter-attacking performance from Man United. But obviously they had the players to do it.
Yeah.
Mbeumo is probably one of the best counter-attacking players there is at the moment in the Premier League. Bruno, obviously, incredible ability to pick passes out, and he was doing it night and day. Also, Cunha, he's got incredible ability. They had Dorgu as well, who was just kind of, his work rate was amazing, and he was able to just dominate his side. But I think the main thing is how they were able to nullify City was very impressive. Maguire was just making sure Haaland was getting no kind of aerial threat. Lautaro Martinez was making sure that anything into feet he was dealing with. So hopefully with that dynamic, obviously we saw it in September when Van de Ven and Romero just kept shut down Haaland, didn't they? They had Van de Ven following him all the way to the opposition penalty box, and they had any ball into feet was Romero's essentially. And we just got to do the same here. And hopefully at home they'll be encouraged to do that. Like, not be scared of Haaland and not be scared of what they can offer, but go after them. Proactive defending, and that's the crucial thing.
Yeah, and when I'm comparing that Manchester United team to the Tottenham team that's going to play, obviously it's probably going to be a different formation. That extra defender is going to help us. But I think from a defensive standpoint, we've probably got better personnel than Manchester United at the back there. But obviously going the other way, they've got better personnel with the likes of Bruno and Mbeumo. And what I like about Mbeumo is his speed and directness, in the number 9 position since Carrick has come in. We've got Dom Solanke, which offers a different kind of threat, a more of a physical kind of threat. But this is what I was saying in the predicted lineup. This is why I wouldn't mind seeing Tell this game, because he's got more of that kind of pace that can get in behind that Man City team. Obviously, we did see Dominic Solanke getting behind, in midweek, but that's not his natural game, getting in behind. He's more like backing into the strike, backing into the defender, and being really hard to handle in a physical aspect. But I think Tell in the 9 could have his values in this game. I really do.
I agree, but I think the reason we are going to go with Dom, and I think it's the right decision, is because City are going to press us, and it's going to be tough to play our way out of them. And one way of doing that is just going long, and we are going to do that. I think we are probably going to do that quite a lot.
Well, we do it every game,
and we do it every game. That's my point. And Dom is just the best player to pick up that those kind of holding the ball up, and getting that close control on his chest, bringing other players into play, bringing Odegaard and Xavi, getting them into the game. And I actually think even since he's come in, he's actually done such a good job at doing that. You just see the difference. His strength is brilliant, backing into players and making sure that it's his ball and just making it stick, bringing that quality. And I think the crucial thing with that is with Dom, you just you can plan for it to stick because you know it is going to stick. With our other strikers, it's very hit and miss.
True.
So I think there will be a plan for it. As soon as Dom gets it down, this one's going to be running, that one's going to be running. When it's Richarlison, it's like, can you plan for it? Because if he's going to lose it, 70% of the time, then if this guy's running, making those runs constantly, and he's losing it, all of a sudden he's going to stop making those runs because he can't count on Richarlison to hold it. Whereas with Dom, you can. So all of a sudden, that can be a plan in place. What we do, and I think that will be a plan in place. For
it's
Dom.
true. Look, we look like a better side with Dominic Solanke in it, no doubt about it. I think when you're talking about the Man City physicality and how much about maybe they're lacking in a bit of it recently, I think what has helped and what will help them is Mark Guehi and Semenyo. Both of them are very physical players, aren't they? Yeah. And from that aspect, that's something that we need to be wary on because they're players that can match the physical battle.
Absolutely, but my only point on Man City is they have those physical players, but they also have not physical players. And I'm not saying not physical, but in comparison. So when I talk about people like Kuzanov and Nico O'Reilly is pretty physical as well. I'm not saying they're awful physically. I'm just saying there's an advantage you just got to try and get, and I think Kuzanov is definitely one. He's obviously very quick, but I think Dom, if we get Dom sticking to him, like Dom's got to make sure he's sticking to Kuzanov. I think Kuzanov's going to have a big battle trying to get the ball off him. And I think definitely Semenyo and Guehi's improved them because they've had so many injuries and they've just come in slotted. They were playing a Watford loanee at centre back, for the last few games. And obviously, with Semenyo wasn't there as an option. They've had Savino out. They've had a lot of injuries. So naturally, it's just going to help them anyway. But I definitely think physically against United, they struggled massively. Again, it was the Watford centre-back who played. But physically against United, they definitely had struggles there. And against Wolves, they won, but they only won 2-0. It wasn't like they're battering. I just think there might be some advantages we can get in this game physically. Definitely from set pieces.
You're looking at that midfield battle where we're thinking it's going to be Gallagher and Paulinho, right? If they're up against a midfield three of, let's say, Rodri, I don't know, Foden and Reinders, or Foden and Bernardo Silva, or Bernardo Silva and whatever it may be, I think Rodri will be sitting in that number 6. And I'm looking at Rodri. He hasn't really recovered and got back to his best yet, has he? He looks a bit physically off the pace a little bit. Yeah. And he is someone that Spurs can target a little bit with that physicality with Paulinho in the middle and with Conor Gallagher in the middle there.
Yeah, we have to test him. I think it's as harsh as it is. This is a guy who's obviously recovering from a big injury. And he hasn't. Look, I don't think he's been awful, but he hasn't been at his best, and anywhere near his best. He's way off it at the moment in terms of himself. When you compare him to just an average Premier League player, he's not awful. But when you compare him to himself, he's way off it, way off the pace. He was in a way different condition, I feel, from what I've seen. So, for me, you have to test that. You got to hound him. You got to make sure that he has to be at his best to beat you, and I don't think he is at the moment. So I definitely think that is one thing. I look at Gallagher, who's endless running energy. Paulini's got incredible ability to press and win tackles. I think if it's going to be those two, they've got to use Rodri as a pressing trick, and that's not something that sounds weird to say because Rodri's usually so press resistant he can get out of any situation. But right now, You've got to tell, basically send a message to Rodri, you've got to be the best Rodri that you are, otherwise we're going to be after you.
Yeah, and I've seen him obviously he got sent off a couple of weeks ago. I can't remember who it was against, but he got picked up 2 yellow cards in quite quick succession.
I think Boda.
Was it Bodie, yeah? And he picked up 2 yellow cards in quite a quick succession. And Bodie, you know the way they play, they're just a million miles an hour. They were running rings around the Man City team that day. And I feel like if we show those energy levels and we can get Rodri booked in that first half, and then that takes away another element of his game. And as bad as I think I agree with you. We need to go and target Rodri this game. He could be that weak point in the middle of the park. Mm-hmm. He really could.
I think so as well. And I think they're going to have probably Matthias Nunes at right back. He's obviously kind of turned into a pretty decent right back. But he likes to get forward. That's more.
Both him and Nick O'Reilly, really good players.
They're good. They're really good players, but also they're not like the best. They're good, but they're not like you can get past them. And they played Aït-Nouri. He's been coming back into it. I think that'd be a mistake for them to play Aït-Nouri in this game because I really think Odegaard will probably be licking his lips at the thought of Aït-Nouri, albeit Aït-Nouri could maybe force him back because he's such an offensive player. But
so I think Aït-Nouri played 90 minutes in both Champions League games, but then didn't get off the bench against Wolves last week in the Premier League.
But O'Reilly started in midfield last game,
right?
In Galatasaray, so it'll be interesting to see which one he goes with. But I think definitely the fullbacks. That's definitely where they got exploited against Man United. Just on the breakaway, there was all that space out wide, and I think our wingers or winger in Odegaard should be looking at that situation, especially how he's been playing the last few weeks, just super confident, taking on his man. He's got to be confident in this game. He needs to make sure when he's got the opportunity one-on-one, he takes them on, doesn't even hesitate. And he's been doing that recently, but obviously beforehand, he was clearly, when he got the ball, a bit hesitant. He wasn't sure. He would wait that half a second too long, then maybe take him on when the player's in position or run into traffic inside. Whereas recently, he's not been thinking. He's just been doing, and that's what he needs to do in this game because Man City, I think, could struggle to contain him.
Yeah, we've seen in obviously recent weeks, Spurs have had moments of lapses in concentration at the back against Burnley. 2 goals that we conceded, shocking defending. We've seen those kind of things happen time and time again. You can't afford that against Man City with the likes of Haaland, with the likes of Ryan Cherky, with the likes of Phil Foden, Semenyo. I mean, we can see we basically shut down Semenyo a lot in the Bournemouth game, but one lapse of concentration, one little moment, bang, goal, 3-0, 3-2, and he's got that quality. All of those players have got that quality. Just one little moment is all they need.
Yeah, and obviously against Burnley, switched off a couple times, didn't we?
Yeah.
And even that cost us, even against Burnley. So at this level, you have to be on it. I have a feeling that because it's a big game, big opposition, they will be on it. They will be switched on. I feel like someone like Romero loves these kind of games. Same with Van de Ven, maybe Danso as well. So I feel like I have a feeling it won't be as much of an issue as it was in the games against Burnley and West Ham, where in those games, obviously, the onus is on us to attack and win the game, and it made us focus on those elements. And then at the back, we, in the few times we were attacked, we did switch off, and we weren't as solid or as organised as we should have been. And I feel like in this game they're going to be more switched on. I've got that feeling because I think they step up in these games.
Yeah, the thing is with Man City, in terms of when you're looking at their careers, like Ryan Cherky, I think he's been so good this season. He's like a throwback player, isn't he? Such a box of tricks, so exciting to watch. And even if you're on it at the best of times, he can still get past you and still create something. So they've got X factors in there. Like even if we're performing at our best and we're shutting down Haaland, they can still like create chances.
Foden, Hart, they've just got incredible talent in the forward line. Obviously, adding Semenyo to that, he gives them as well.
More goals.
Yeah, more goals, more pace, more power. Someone to be worried about in a one-on-one kind of situation in dribbling and stuff. Obviously, he's very good at getting in the box. They've got incredible talent. Haaland, what more can you say about Erling Haaland? You switch off one moment, he's thrown goal and it's 1-0 or it's a goal. You know that with him. So it's going to be one hell of a job to stop them, but we always seem to do one hell of a job whenever we play against them. We just seem to pull it out of the bag and we seem to find a way of stopping them with the energy we provide. We just have their number somehow. We just seem to always be able to switch on, be compact. They always find it difficult. I mean, they do create chances a lot of the time, but they just find a way of missing them a lot of the time, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, Haaland is very prone to having a stink against us, which makes me think, like, at one point, he's just going to click against us. And let's hope that doesn't come tomorrow.
You know, Bernardo, Foden, Cherky, just such incredible technicians in between the lines. If we've got anyone switching off or no one doing their job, within a second they'll be in behind you and creating chances. It won't take much. So it's difficult to contain them. But you know, we do have good defenders, and we have good proactive defenders on if they behave proactively. So I'm confident. I'm confident we can be competitive in this game. Obviously, look, they're favourites. I wouldn't be shocked if we lose. It could easily happen, like, you know, what happened maybe at the Emirates. You know, the way we just got completely outplayed and battered. That could happen if we're not on our game and we don't have good energy levels. That could easily happen. We obviously went back 3 in that game.
Well, look, we all talk about the results we get against Man City and how we're a thorn in their side and everything like that. But actually, I mean, the last 2 Premier League games at home, we haven't scored and we've lost 2 games. So we are on a bit of a bad run against them at home after, you know, the amazing run that we did go on. So that is also something to be wary about.
We did beat them in the Carabao, didn't we?
Yeah, we beat them in the Carabao 1-0, wasn't it?
2-1.
2-1 was it? Yeah. But I'm talking about in the league, you know, 2-0 and 1-0, wasn't it? Or was it 1-0, 1-0?
2-0 was the one we wanted to lose, and 1-0 was the game last season, although we actually played really well in that game.
Haaland scored like early on, and then we just couldn't claw it back after that.
Yeah.
So, look, this is a game literally that just can go any way. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if it was a win, loss, or draw. I know that's unbelievable analysis, but like, you just wouldn't be surprised, would you?
No.
There's nothing surprises you in this game.
Yeah, I think for me, it's a weird one because going into this game, obviously off the back of a win, you feel a bit better about how we're playing and stuff like that compared to obviously when every time we finish a Premier League game, you're like, this is terrible, this is dross, I can't stand it, can't stand the manager, get him gone. And we play these Champions League games, like, actually we're not too bad, are we? We can do all right. And then so this is off the back of a Champions League game. So if this was obviously off the back of Burnley, I'm like, yeah, no chance, we're not going to win, we're terrible, we're shit, the players don't want to play for him, blah blah blah. And then we play Frankfurt, pretty good performance given also loads of injuries, and then you're like, okay, maybe if we get back to how we played it maybe against City early in the season, this back 3 seems to be doing a bit better, maybe we got a chance here. So it's a difficult one to really analyse. It's like we'll see kind of what kind of Tottenham turn up.
Spurs just have a tendency, and it's been like this for so many years, to drag you back in and spit you back out.
Yeah.
That's what they do consistently, time and time again. And right now we've been dragged back in, and are we going to be spat back out this weekend?
Yeah, absolutely. In terms of like Frank, like you've had the feeling now for the last like few games, oh, he has to win or he's gone, has to win or he's gone. I don't have the feeling in this game. I think even if he loses, I don't think he's going.
What if it's a
anywhere.
very heavy loss?
Even that, I think you got the you know, it's Man City, you can happen to anyone kind of excuse. I don't think he's gone after this game. I think that period maybe where he really was under pressure. I'm not saying he's not still under pressure. I guess, look, if we lose heavily and then Forest and West Ham all get results and we're literally getting dragged really heavily into it and we look disinterested in this game, maybe we do pull the trigger. But I don't have the feeling like I did it before the West Ham or after West Ham, before Burnley, before Dortmund, where this is a dead man walking and he had to go. I feel like they're not going to pull the trigger even if we do lose this game.
There's one thing dropping points or losing to a title challenger. There's another thing dropping points to relegation candidates.
Exactly.
And quite consistently as well.
And if he didn't lose his job then,
exactly.
He could lose his job now.
Yeah, exactly.
So, my point being, I don't get the feeling that even if we lose this, his job is on the line in this game. Whereas I did get those feelings in those other games.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. But let's see if we have the same feelings at the final whistle on Sunday.
I guess maybe from some Tottenham fans' point of view, a good performance and a loss maybe would be the perfect result. But I think
not for me.
For Thomas Frank, yeah, but Frank's not under pressure if he loses for you, is he?
I mean, I think he should be, in my opinion.
Even if it's a good performance.
I think he should be under pressure regardless. Look, I've said it time and time again. Like, I don't know. It's all about who you can bring in at this stage of season. And I think if they had a clear candidate who they could bring in as an interim, I think he would be in by now. And I think Frank would be gone. But there's clearly that issue there. So, and it's a valid issue as well when you're talking about they're still starting to play for in the Champions League. We're doing well in the Champions League. You know, no one thinks we're actually going to go and win it, albeit I know a few people that have put their hotels in Budapest. But yeah, and the thing is about that as well, I feel like the club aren't taking the threat of relegation seriously. And if they were taking the threat of relegation seriously, they might be looking even harder for an interim.
Well, there was a report from, where is it? There is a report from Mike Keegan on the Daily Mail said there are thought to be clauses in the contracts which would lower wages in the event of relegation, but the prospect is not being considered at Tottenham.
Yeah, well, there you go. So I don't think they're taking it seriously. I think a lot of the fan base aren't taking it seriously as well. And look, it might come to pass. I don't think anyone genuinely thinks we're going to get relegated, but I think a lot of fans are genuinely thinking that we could get pulled into it.
100%.
So
we could easily be within 5 or less points at the end of this month. At the end of next month, sorry.
Yeah.
But whether we can pull that situation together come the end of the season, I'm pretty confident we can. Even if we somehow find our way into the relegation zone at some point this season, I'm still confident we would pull ourselves out of it. But the fact that we're even contemplating the fact that we could be in the relegation zone at some point this season is absolutely baffling and crazy.
I think the way the club are looking at it right now is that, look, Frank could have deserved to got sacked by now. There's no candidate that can come in and guarantee to change our fortunes. So we're not going to go down. We're not in any threat of relegation. So let's just see how we go with Frank till the end of the season. And if needs be, we'll make a change then.
Yeah, my point being when it comes to Frank in this game is like, against West Ham and Burnley was like, you have to win. Otherwise, like, it's a disgrace. Obviously, that's not the case on Sunday.
Yeah.
Because we're playing Man City.
Yeah.
But obviously, we want to win. But I guess if we have a good performance again and it follows a trend of better performances, maybe people start to think, okay, maybe you're starting to get a tune out of this team. But we need a good performance for people. Like, if we just go out down with a whimper and it's just poor again, like, regardless of playing Man City, like, it's not an excuse just to not put in a good performance. We need to see good performances. That's like the main thing. If we're really going to have belief as a fan base that this manager could turn it around and he is the right guy. I think obviously he's lost all faith, most faith in most fans in terms of him being the right guy. That doesn't mean he can't win it back if we start playing well, start winning, and, you know, he shows something else or shows more. And it starts on Sunday. Like, we might lose, but let's say we lose 3-2 playing really well and it's unlucky. We can live with that. But if we go down 3-0, having sat back the whole game and just waited to be beaten, then unacceptable. So we need to see a good performance.
But also, if we sit back and soak up the pressure and 1-0 and we crap the whole game, Man City are missing chance after chance, and we win 1-0 from a corner, you know, they use that as an excuse to say, Frank, we beat Man City at home, you know. So it's nothing to be sniffed at to beat Man City at home. So even if we perform poorly and get the result, that's still something else that Frank is going to have, or the board are going to have to keep him.
Definitely. But in terms of how I would feel, I always watch performance. If we just get a lucky 1-0 off the backside and Man City miss 3 penalties, I'm not going to sit here and say, wow, what a performance. But I'll be happy. I'll be delighted. But I'm not going to say, yeah, this is evidence of Frank turning it around. But if we have a good performance and we're the ones missing 3 1-on-1s and Man City score 1 off their backside and win 1-0, I'll be like, okay, Frank, I'll give him a bit of credit because we played well, we were unlucky, it wasn't his fault.
All right, well, that is the match preview, people. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in today. I'll be at the game on Sunday, alongside, apparently, Mr. Box Office is going to sit the seat in front of me.
That's the question.
But Sim is going to be here on the watch-along with a brand new watch-along host. So come in and tune in about 4:15. Not the concierge this time. The concierge, I don't think he's coming in.
Oh, wait,
on Sunday.
one more thing to talk about is change for Tottenham.
Yeah, big protest planned apparently
Big
on.
protest plan. We should probably talk about that because
The thing is with the protest, I mean, I haven't really. I've seen a few bits on Twitter, but I haven't seen it like publicised that much, which is a bit strange.
yeah, he hasn't. Billy T hasn't been doing the rounds this week, I guess, when it comes to it. Just to read out what they've posted: change for Tottenham protest for Sunday. The board will not listen to. The board will not listen to silence. They will not listen to patience. They will only listen when match-going fans show visible collective discontent. If we don't act together inside the stadium, nothing changes. Before kick-off, 4 p.m. Meet outside the south stand. Bring flags, scarves, banners. Join chants against the owners. Make the message loud before a ball is kicked. During the game, continue the Enoch chant, out chants throughout the match. Boycott spending inside the stadium. Don't fund the failure. And then this one turned out to be a bit controversial. 75th minute walkout. At 75 minutes, we encourage all fans to leave the stadium, head to support a local pub, and watch the remainder of the match there. The match is live on TV. The world will be watching. This would make a big statement if the stadium empties. The message is undeniable. If we stay seated and quiet, the board will ignore us again. Our club, our voice. Now, obviously, the Enoch out chance and the demonstration for games have been done before. Walkouts have been planned but never really followed through. What do you think of a walkout 70th minute, and is it appropriate regardless of what's happening on the pitch on Sunday?
I'm always one of, being there to support the team through thick and thin through the 90 minutes. However, I do support what they're trying to do. 75th minute walkout. The last protest a few weeks ago just didn't get the numbers required. So it makes me think that the walkout, I'm not sure if the walkout's going to be successful as much as I want it to be successful. So I hope it is, and I hope you get large numbers of fans walking out. But it also it needs to start small and get big. So maybe it won't happen this game, but maybe you get a few people walking out this game, and then if they keep going and keep persisting with it, the word will get spread bigger. And but I think ultimately the problem is with this fan base. I don't think enough people care, and I don't think enough people are behind it.
But how would you feel if, let's say, we're 1-0 up, playing well, we're kind of digging deep to get a result, but we're having a good performance, and we just need the fans to help us over the line, and there's a walkout.
It might be better just to leave seats empty in the first 10, 20 minutes, 10, 15 minutes instead of the last 15 minutes. Mm-hmm. That might be easier to accomplish.
Because it's very result dependent. If we're 3-0 down, people are going to be walking out regardless, aren't they? Mm-hmm. On 75 minutes. And then it's an easier job to convince fans. But if we are playing well, winning, we're winning whatever result is, or even drawing, let's say,
Look, the reality is, right, the majority of people that go to the stadium are going to watch the football. And there's a small percentage of the real hardcore that are very invested in the hierarchy of the club and what that is and demonstrating and everything like that. So I think with what we have in the stadium right now, I genuinely don't believe we're going to get enough fans to actually do it to make an impact. I really don't.
Will you be walking out?
Look, if I see that a large number is, then I'll back it and I'll join in. But if it's only like one or two, then I don't see a point in it.
Has to start somewhere, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does have to start somewhere, and I massively appreciate the work that Change of Spurs do. I've been at every Change for Spurs protest so far, and I'll carry on going and supporting them, and hopefully the numbers can grow again and get back to what it was last season and more. But the last protest, the numbers that turned up was very disappointing.
But if Spurs are winning and the walkout is successful, there is a large number. Would that be appropriate?
Sorry, say that again?
If Spurs are winning, playing well,
yeah,
and the walkout is
effective. I think a protest shouldn't be result dependent. Mm-hmm. A protest should be a protest. We're protesting against the board. The board are the same before the game and after the game, no matter what the result is. Mm-hmm. So, regardless, I think if you want to protest against the board, it shouldn't be dependent on the result.
Fair enough. I think you're right there. But yeah, interesting stuff.
But we know after the game, Nothing's going to change. The goal line bar is going to be packed with people. Not many people are probably going to walk out. So let's just hope I'm wrong, and let's hope that the fans can make their voices heard. We made our voices heard last year, but this year it's just been more apathy than anything else.
Yeah, I think obviously they've done a good job, haven't they, in terms of changing the narrative. The ENIC, Levy's gone, blah blah blah, this and that. One, we did win the Europa League, so we had a trophy to celebrate. Everyone's been happy about that. So I think people who are really paying attention realise that it's still ENIC and nothing's really changed. But for some people, they're willing. A lot of people, I guess, they're still willing to give it a bit of a grace period, and they're willing to give it a bit more time to see what has really changed, and if because maybe there's an understanding or an ability to see, look, these things can take time to implement, and maybe there is change, we just haven't seen it yet, and they're willing to give it time. So I understand the conflict there.
What do you reckon? What do you reckon about the 75th minute walkout?
Yeah, I mean,
would you be taking part if you were at the game on Sunday?
Would I be taking part if I was at the game on Sunday? No.
Why not?
Because I think it'd be better to do the opposite, as you said, walk in late and have it when they kick off to be empty. That sends more of a message than walking out, I think, on 75. I think you should be, because I think at that point you're in the game, you've been there for 75 minutes. You should be with the players at that point. I think when you come in late, that's not a sign of you've abandoned the players. That's a sign of sending a message, and
then you're going to join the players.
You're going to join the players. At that point, it's like when you're abandoning the game at 75 minutes. Then it's like sending a message like we're abandoning you. We're not supporting you to try and get the result over the line. So I don't know if I agree with a walkout as such in such a big game as well. I understand the intent behind it. I'm not against that, and I would attend a 10-minute or 15-minute walk-in, definitely.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from. I do,
but I'm not sure about a walkout.
But the protest in general, obviously, I've been to all the games that have been the protest. You haven't been to one yet.
No, I'd go to the protest if I'm not in the studio, for sure.
So look, big up to change for Spurs. Definitely support what they're trying to do. But let's see what happens this weekend, eh? So,
big one.
Yeah, big game. Let's hope a message gets across to the board as well. And it's just like, I was willing to give it time to see if they can follow through on their word. But it's just, I said I'll give them this transfer window and next transfer window. But this transfer window has just been enough for me, enough to see what they're really about, and enough to see what, if anything, has really changed, and nothing seems to have changed. In fact, it seems to have got worse. So,
I also think, let's say we are losing heavily going to latter stages, what would send more of a message? Just like massive ENIC out chance for the last 15 minutes, or just a quiet, empty stadium where a lot of people are leaving anyway?
Yeah, I think both do send messages, but I think being loud in the stadium in front of the Sky cameras,
that probably
sends the bigger message.
Because they could just say, "Oh, people left because we're losing."
But they're saying be loud throughout the 75 minutes about it anyway.
Which is, you should do it.
I just got a feeling that
apparently Roberts
that they're being there's too much being asked of the fans in this game. Like,
what do you want? Protests? You want chants, and you want to walk out,
and not too much kind of drum up about it. It needs to be kind of advertised a bit more.
Yeah, you need a lot of people on board and doing it.
Yeah.
If it's going to make the impact that you need it to make. I hear that. But yeah, look, I back the cause, and I think ENIC need to absolutely be put under pressure, 100%. I think they're not doing enough. At the moment, it just seems an absolute circus from the outside looking in. Like, it just seems to be all over the place. They don't seem to have changed. The window hasn't gone to plan by any stretch.
The thing is, it's not about it not going to plan, which is true. It is about that in a certain extent, but it doesn't seem like there's been a plan. That's the whole
also a
point.
thing.
It's just like a complete scattergun approach. We'll go for this one. We'll go for that one. There's no like.
Which is the same every bloody window.
Exactly. Exactly.
In this club. And is it like, for example, they're just. It seems
In
as though
fact,
they've-
actually, like we've always had that thing that there's no real plan at Tottenham. But actually, the last couple of transfer windows, it seems like the positions have been targeted a bit more precisely. Now it seems like it's back to that approach of like no plan whatsoever.
And it just also doesn't seem to be like a plan for Frank. Like for example, if you think about Brighton, let's say Hertzler resigns tomorrow, I'm sure they've got a big list of managers they would appoint, or they've been looking at and scouting about who could maybe come in. It seems as though we've never even considered the thought of Frank could not be the manager. And I guess if he's gone, we have to scramble around to look for one. There should be a plan in place for everyone, even if it's a manager you trust. There should always be plans in place about what other managers are out there, what they're doing. Could they potentially be a right fit for us? And if the manager does go wrong with you, then all of a sudden you know what you're doing. Not saying you should undermine his power.
I think the plan is in place there for the summer. It's just not there for mid-season.
I don't know if it is.
I think it is.
I don't know if it is. Just Poch. I'm sorry, going back to Poch is not a plan. That's just lazy.
It is a plan, and it's what's going to happen.
It's not a plan. It's just like, we'll go back to Poch because everyone loves him.
Yeah.
It's not a plan.
But I think it's a decent. I think it's a decent option for us, Pochettino. I welcome it with open arms.
It's not come from them thinking about things strategically. Is my point.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just if all else fails,
strategy.
Go back to what the tried and tested.
Exactly, because everyone will get on board with it and whatever. If it falls flat, we'll think about that down the line.
See, it's not. Ultimately, it's not really a footballing decision.
That's what I'm saying.
It's a popularity thing.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
It's like an easy win.
That's what I said all along.
Yeah.
It's the ENIC playbook. What they did when they first came in, they sacked George Graham, which the fans hated because of his Arsenal links. He won us a trophy. They sacked him, and they brought in Glenn Hoddle, who's a Tottenham legend.
That's what I'm saying. Like, there's no real strategy about how they're operating.
Yeah.
And they should have a list of managers that they think, go back to their bloody list, to their bloody 10-point plan list, and look about other managers on that list and think about who maybe you could target, because I think they might have to go back to that list very soon, or if it carries on like this with Frank.
Yeah, look, I think the focus needs to switch from Thomas Frank onto the board. Like, enough of this Frank out noise in the stadium, which, look, I get it, but if you focus on ENIC, then you'll probably get what you want with Thomas Frank anyway. So focus on ENIC. They need to be the kind of at the forefront of the fans' mind in terms of, voicing the discontent, in my opinion. So, yeah, look, that is it. That is all from us today. We'll see you on Sunday, people. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on, you Spurs.